Yeah. So, well, let's start. ¿Vale?
Sure, let's start.
Vamos a empezar, mi querido doctor. So, tell me, when was the last conversation you had with a stranger lately?
Oh, wow. Stranger, someone I never knew before. Well, I have conversations with strangers every day because of my work. I'm a Botox doctor, so I do Botox and fillers, so I get new patients all the time. And it's interesting where they come from and where their lives come from. And they could be housewives, or they could be CEOs, or they could be almost anything that comes through the door to see me, to help me, for me to help them look better.
And what kind of conversations are the one that you engage the most?
I think the biggest thing is just the human conversation, right? It's just being human and being real, and the struggles that they're going through. Why are they coming to see me at this time, at this place, And, are they going through a breakup? Did they just get a divorce? Are they dating again? Are they trying to find a new job? It's normal, everyday life conversations that they come see me for. And I'm part Botox doctor, I'm part therapist for sure, 100%. And it's fun to actually be a therapist, and I get to share myself too. It's not just me listening, but I get to share my life and my joy and my journey with them as well. It's definitely a two-way street. It's not just a one-way where I'm just listening. So
Yeah, because that's in a way that you and I met, right? Even though I went to see you, we start connecting just because it was a connection that it was not related to the clinic. It was not related with you being a doctor or me being a patient, right? It was another level of connection. I don't know if because we were talking about sometimes manifestation, or sometimes we were talking about Vietnam. I think it was that. I think that the first time we connected, you just came back from Vietnam. Right. And you had some kind of like an awareness, a different awareness that you had before. Am I right?
I mean, I go back to Vietnam all the time. I've been back and forth to Vietnam probably like 20 sometimes in the past, 10 years. And every time I go, it changes me. It's to be integrated again into a culture I know very well, but also is very different to me. I grew up here in the United States since I was 6 years old. And I'm very American in some aspects, but in other aspects, I'm very, very Vietnamese. And to go back to my parents' homeland and to realize why I am the way I am, it's very enlightening. Why do I think the way I think? Why do I talk the way I talk? Or why do I use the words, I use? It's when I go back there, I feel the sameness. I feel one with the people. I don't stand out like a sore thumb like I do here in the United States. I mean, I grew up in Indiana, which is very Midwest, very white. I hardly saw any Asians at all. I saw a few black people. Even in my school when I was younger, I was the only Asian kid at all. I mean, there's one like half black girl, and we became friends, and we were different than everybody else there.
Mm-hmm. And did you feel any distance with the rest of the people? You felt really different from them?
Oh yeah. Of course, I did. I felt very different from them because at home, I spoke a different language. At home, I ate different foods. And it was just so noticeable to me that I was very different from them. You know, I would look in the mirror and try to correct my eyes, you know, to make myself look more white, so that might bring the bridge of my nose up, you know, and bring my eyes in so that I didn't have that slant in my eyes. There was just a lot of things that I knew that I was different, but also I knew I was gay too. So I always knew I didn't fit in and I didn't belong to the bigger group.
Yeah, because Indiana is pretty conservative, right? And very, very Catholic as well, maybe.
Yeah, very Protestant, very conservative. I mean, that's where Mike Pence came from, our ex-vice president. So it just everybody thought the same way. You know, everybody, it was like a herd mentality. You had to think the same way as everybody else. And it wasn't until I moved to Colorado that I felt free to be myself, to be the person that I was meant to be. And sometimes you got to break away. You got to move away to be a different person because, you know, when you grow up with all these people around you and you went to church with them and you went to school with them, they think they know who you are. And inside you may be a totally different person. And it's too scary to come out, you know, not just in a gay way, but in a personal way that you're this other person. You know, you have to sometimes move away to a different city to really explore and to be yourself. And I think it's the amazing thing for me is to watch young people these days that are coming out at 12 or 15 or 18 or whatever, 17, where they're saying, oh, I'm non-binary or I'm gay or I'm lesbian or I'm transsexual or whatever, I'm different. And for them to have that courage at that time in their life is pretty amazing because high school can be brutal, you know. It's not sometimes it's not a pretty place to be.
Did you find that it was easy for you to connect with people?
I did. I mean, there were some people that I connected very well with. You know, I had a nice group of friends in high school that were intelligent, intellectuals, you know, nerds. They say I was in the nerd group, and that was really fun. We played Dungeons and Dragons, you know, imaginary stories where nerds can just sit and be themselves. And but we also felt like it was a cool group too, because we did get some respect from the other friends because the other friends knew we were smart, you know. So it's finding your tribe, right? Finding where you belong in this big cosmos. And one of the things that's, I think, I don't know, this is a little different tangent, is that everybody's trying to find their tribe. Because especially now with COVID, everybody's lonely, right? They're all separated from each other. And somehow or another, they're wanting to find their tribe. And maybe it's so easy to get sucked into a wrong tribe at this time in their lives. I mean, look at the QAnon phenomenon, you know, where they're sucked into social media and false news and things like that. And they find their tribe online because they feel like they don't have the support of friends and family anymore, and they become a totally different person.
And how do you find around you, what is that kind of radar that we have, that we connect with these people that we know in a way they're going to be interesting for our lives, or they're going to give us other perspectives that we were not maybe had in other way, right? Because you said that how easy it is to enter in groups that tribes that they are not going to be good for you. It could be COVID, could be anything, but really it's happening every day, right? I think the other day I was talking with a friend and I was telling her, look, I think that disconnection we had it before COVID. also. You know, we seem to be connected, but we are not really connected, except special cases, right? People that you really want to be with. So how can we expand that connection? What it requires from us to reach out to someone who maybe has nothing to do with us or has a lot to do with us, but we don't know about it.
Right.
How do you do it?
How do you reach out to people that are different than us? Is that the question?
Well, take it from wherever place you want to take it. How do you connect with people? How do you choose the people that you want to be with? How do you start creating your own community, your own tribe?
I think it starts with being grounded in yourself, right? It starts with knowing who you are at your core and at your essence. Who are you as a person, and what it is that is meaningful to your life? I mean, I came from a very solid foundation of family, 10 kids in our family. I'm the youngest out of 10 kids, a very loving, mom, a little bit stricter dad, but we had a great core value and family dynamic. I love my brothers and sisters and my nieces and nephews, and sometimes I think they're crazy, and which they are, but but it starts from that base of knowing who you are, before you can really connect with someone else, because you have to have that strength inside of yourself to know who you are and what you want, because you are the shaper of your universe. You are the shaper of your own destiny and your own life. And whatever you put out, you're always going to get back, right? If you want to connect with someone that's going to uplift you and make your life better, you will find that. They will automatically be drawn to you. Just like in my practice, I connect, the people that come to see me are 99% of the time very positive people. They're very uplifting people. They know where they're going. They want better things for themselves, and they look at the world in a better light than what it is. And they're always think on the positive side. And so those people are attracted to me because I'm exactly, the same way. That's how we connected, because you have an aura and you have an energy that is very unique. And I loved when you worked at my clinic, because I would be in my office seeing a patient and I hear you laughing and bursting out laughing, and my patient and I would just start laughing too, because, it was just that voice and that energy and that laughter made us feel happy. And we wanted to know what you're laughing about, because it was so joyful. And it's something that those people have an attraction that you want to connect with, and you want to know what their story is. Why are they always laughing? Why are they always joyful? And you every day, I loved being there with you.
But it's interesting. I love being there. I missed it, actually. I missed it a lot. But what I also know, that is something that you have, right? You, I can be somebody, let's say me, because we were talking about that you were interested in my laughter or whatever, but you will make a conscious connection in order to know more, to get to know me. That requires a step, right? And do you feel that you can do that easily?
I guess to me it is pretty easy, because the more you do it, the more easier it becomes, right? Because I am exposed to, when I do work, I'm exposed to new people all the time, and you find common ground, you find a connection, and it could be just as simple as, Oh, you went to Indiana University. They see my degree on the wall and they say, oh, I went there or this or that or something like that. And it starts with something as simple as that. It could be as simple as, oh, you're Vietnamese. Your last name is Nguyen. I love Vietnamese food. I've been to Vietnam. It's finding something in common that we don't, that all of us have with each other. And expounding and growing from that commonness, and good feelings beget good feelings, because if I give them good energy, they're gonna throw good energy back, and it's like throwing a ball back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you want to be around those good feelings because it's addictive, right? It's addictive to feel good. But the interesting thing is, Yolanda, it's addictive to feel bad too.
Yeah.
That's something I learned from actually Scott, my partner. I mean, not to go into details, but he had a counselor that told him that anger is an addiction, and I was like, what? Anger? You can be addicted to anger? And I was like, wow, that does make sense, because from a physician standpoint, when you're angry, you have all these hormones and these serotonin levels being raised and this and that, and you feel angry, and it becomes addictive, and you want to feel that again because it makes you feel powerful or this or that or whatever, just like a drug would make you feel powerful, and you want to take it again, And I was like, wow, I had no idea anger can be addictive, but it is, and it makes sense. And you see people that love being angry, right?
Out of the addiction, right? Not because they want to.
Right. That's not. That obviously is not who we are as human beings. Who we are as human beings is the best that we can be, which is being kind, being selfless, being creative, being ourselves, and being true and being authentic, and those are the best that we are as human beings.
And I want to pause a moment in there, because all of that you say, being kind, being grateful, being open, being everything that you just have described, does it come to you naturally, or this is the result of years of seeing it, trying? You know what I mean? It is, how do you get to that point? Because I agree with you 100%. Why is not everybody there then? How did you get to that way of living? Because you live like that.
I do. It's not overnight by any means. It is not overnight. And it is working on yourself and on the way you think. And on the way you think of yourself first. I think that's where I started, is I picked up a book a long time ago that a friend had recommended. I bought it, I put it on the shelf, I never read it until a very low point in my life, and the book was called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. But I bought it years ago, but I never read it. And then at one of the lowest points in my life, I picked it up, I read it, and it just started making sense to me, is that the first thing I need to do is just to love myself and to forgive myself. Because I think that's the hardest part of this journey that we're on, is the number one thing is to love yourself and to forgive yourself for the wrongs that you've done to yourself, the wrongs that you've done to other people, and to forgive what other people have done to you. Because, and the book says over and over again, people really do try to do the best that they can at that moment, at that present time, with the knowledge and the wisdom that they had at that present time. If they knew better, they would have done it better, right? And that's the grace that we need to give for ourselves and for others, because, you know, at that moment, at that present time, that's all I could do. And if I knew better, I would have done it better. It's funny because when I say that, I'm reminded of acting, because, you know, I've been taking acting classes for the past 2 years, and I look at my acting 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and I go, oh my gosh, I wasn't that good. I was like, I looked at it, I was like, I thought I was really good at that time. But I look at it now and I'm like, oh my God, you know, but that's the best I could do at that time with the wisdom and the knowledge I had about acting at that present moment. Now I can do better. And I can only imagine, you know, 2 years from now when I look at the stuff that I do today, you know, and I think, oh, you know, I'm so much better now than I was right now, you know? So it's a journey. It's not, you never arrive.
Yeah, it is a journey. It is a journey. And also, you live the journey, not by telling me, you're not telling me you need to do this, you need to do that, you follow this. It's kind of like embedded in you, you know? It is embedded. It's like you already live in it. The way you express yourself, like, wow, I'm just looking forward to see in 3 years what I was doing as an actor at 3 years ago. It is, wow, that is the material of what we are made of as an artist, right? You are not talking about practice only. You're not talking about the steps that you need to give or what do you need to study. You're just like trusting in, wow, it's gonna get better.
It is, and it's your little inner voice that says, okay, you're going in the right direction today, you know? And if you make a mistake, it's okay. And that inner voice says, oh, you could have done that better, Phil, you know? And you think, you sit back and you reflect and you're like, for example, the other day I was on the airplane. I was flying to Los Angeles here. And we landed, and I guess during the plane trip, I always had my headphones on, so I didn't hear anything that they were saying on the loudspeakers or whatever, okay? So we landed, and we got to the gate, and I started getting my stuff, you know, from the bin on top, and I saw that people were still sitting. I was in row 14 or something like that, and I saw the people in front of me were still sitting down. They weren't getting up to get their stuff, and I had already got my stuff, and so I kind of rushed through them to get to the front, you know, before the first class cabin, and I was like right behind the first class cabin, and I know they were looking at me like, who is this guy and why is he doing that? Maybe there was an announcement that said, don't get up, you know? So, and I thought maybe there was an announcement and I didn't hear it, but I felt bad because I skipped all those people that didn't get up, you know, when the plane landed.
Uh-huh.
So, and I felt bad for a few hours after that, but I forgave myself and said, well, maybe next time when there's an announcement, I need to take my headphones out so I can listen and hear. So what can I learn from this situation so that I can be a better human being and not cut the line?
You didn't do it on purpose, right?
I didn't do it on purpose. But
it's also a reminder of being present.
Yeah.
It's also a reminder that how much of our lives is on automatic and how much of our lives is conscious moments, you know, where we are there.
Yeah. And it's something that I think the question that you mentioned, how do you get to this point, or how do you get to this point of thinking positive all the time, is you gotta work on it. You can't. It's not that one day you just wake up being positive. It's really an art form. It's a craft. It's like learning to be a good actor or a good painter or this or that. It's working on it, every day, and it's the contrast that shows us what we can become, right? Because if you never experience heartache, you don't know how much joy there is in living life. If you've never gone through the valleys, you don't know how high life can be. Because every day I wake up and think, oh my God, I live this amazing life. I would never have thought that I would be here when I was younger. That I would be happy, I would grow up. I wake up every day thinking, wow, what do I want to do today? Do I want to act? Do I want to, go for a run? Do I want to paint? Do I want to have a Zoom meeting with Yolanda? It's just a very interesting time in my life that I can decide whatever it is I want to do this morning. I get to do. To write in my diary, to go see a friend, or I don't know. There's just so many, and the universe connects us so easily. Whatever it is that we desire, all of a sudden the universe puts that person in front of us.
Tell me more about how do you experience that in your life?
So this past couple of weeks, I've been getting this message over and over again. Okay? And the message is, be afraid, but do it anyways.
Yeah.
And I heard it. I kept hearing it when I would listen to a YouTube video. I saw it on when I was visiting Scott's office. He had some pictures on the wall, and it said the same thing: be afraid, but do it anyways. Because the universe gives us thoughts, and it gives us ambitions, and it gives us desires, and we're afraid. We're afraid we're gonna fail. We're afraid that people are gonna laugh at us, and we're afraid that we're gonna lose money, and we're afraid of so many different things. But if it's a desire that's from the heart, that's the universe guiding you.
I feel that for me, I don't know. I feel like I have an enormous pleasure on the journey. It is like I might wanted to go A to B. Nevertheless, B loses its importance at certain level because I am having so much fun in that journey.
Absolutely. Think of all you're learning on that journey. It's not the destination that counts, but it's the journey that counts, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much. For example, with me, I did my documentary of my family coming to the United States and interviewed my brothers and sisters. And so I thought, well, maybe I want to write the story of my family into a movie, and then somehow I got connected with a writer that's Vietnamese. Okay, so my ex-boyfriend, who's a producer, introduced me to this writer that's Vietnamese, that's gay, that's written a couple stories, Saigon Love Story, which is the first Vietnamese musical that was produced like 15 years ago. And then a gay movie called Big Gay Love that was produced like 10 years ago or something like that. And we started talking, we started connecting, and I told him about the documentary. I sent him some footage, and he watched it, and he asked more questions. And he's like, Phil, I think this story should be about your life, and it should be about how you dealt with growing up Vietnamese in an American society, and how you dealt with your father and this and that and the cultural differences. I think that's a much more interesting human story than your family escaping from Vietnam. I was like, interesting. Because I thought the destination was this, but all of a sudden life is leading me into a different journey now. Where I'm thinking about maybe it should be a different story, because that's another story that would be much more connecting on a human level of relationship between a father and a son than it is this grand story about escaping from Vietnam. So we started talking about that, and because he's a professional writer, he's with the Screenwriters Guild, et cetera, et cetera. He charges X amount for writing that story, and it was a significant amount. And I was like, okay, I'm not ready to invest in that now, but I'm gonna learn more about writing. So I took a screenwriting class.
Wonderful.
Online, because now everything's online. So I took a screenwriting class online. So I learned the basics of screenwriting and all the things that you need to create a good movie, and why a good movie is a good movie. All the elements that there are in a good movie. So at least I had now a foundation of what a good script looks like, So it's all about preparing yourself for that journey that you want to go on.
And it's a journey that unfolds as you go. In a way, you cannot be 100% sure that goal you have in mind is the one that is really going to happen.
You don't. You have no idea. You have no idea. You just know what the next step is. That's all you need to know. And the universe will open up so much more than you ever imagined. Right? So for me, that journey is what makes me feel good when I do it. Okay? If I do something and it gives me joy, and it gives me pleasure, and it makes me feel alive, and it makes me feel good inside, I keep on doing it. Because that's my journey.
Because that joy actually sometimes can be disappointment, failure, but it is within the joy of doing what you want to do.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I mean, look at acting. It's like, it took me so long and so many heartaches and so many failures to be where I'm at right now. How many times have I not remembered my lines, or did a horrible job in my head, or this or that? It's falling again and again and again and again. But for some reason, I keep wanting to do it, because it gives me joy when I accomplish something new, when I learn something new. It gives me so much joy, when I go from coach to coach to coach to different coach that shows me something different about acting that I didn't know before. I'm like, there's this joy in learning and getting better and better and better. But obviously I'm going to fall down all the time. It doesn't matter that I fall down all the time. Because the joy, even that tiny little joy of watching myself get better and better every month is so amazing to me that my brain is learning something new. Okay, get this, when I started acting, I was like, why is it I can't remember my lines? Right? That's one of the most important things of acting. You can't remember your lines, you know. But now it's so much easier for me to remember my lines. I don't know why, but it takes me about a quarter of the time to memorize my lines that it did 2 years ago.
How long have you been practicing since you decided to want to become an actor?
2 years now. Yeah, it's been 2 years now since I started acting classes. Almost 2 years.
You have been diligent in going to those classes. You have been present in your life, showing up in your life, dedicated to that. I mean, how you get better too. It's not only to have the dream, it's also doing all of that.
I mean, it took me 2 years to book my first commercial. And I just booked it. I mean, we just filmed it 3-4 weeks ago. It's for the Colorado lottery. I'll send you the clip.
I saw it.
You saw it? Oh my God. It's for the Colorado lottery, and it's just crazy that it feels so good that all this work is starting to bloom and blossom. I mean, it took 2 years for me to book my first commercial job. And the funny thing is, I knew it was going to happen at that moment and at that time. Because a month ago, well, it was end of January, I remember being on a plane. I had downloaded a new audiobook to listen on the plane. It was a very short audiobook. And I listened to it all the way through on my plane ride. And one of the things that audiobook said was, tell the universe what you want and give it a timeline to make it happen in 30 days.
And you did it.
And I did it. I told the universe, I want a commercial job. I want to be cast in a commercial in the next 30 days. And a week later, I was casted.
And you didn't do anything about it.
I didn't do anything. And it just...
You were ready for it.
I was ready for it, and it happened. But it just shows that we are the creators of our universe. Whatever it is, I mean, we can have a better life. I don't know where you are in your journey and in your life, and I'm speaking to your general audience, not to you in particular, but it doesn't matter where you are in your journey in your life. You can have a better life. You can think your way out of where you're at. Not only think your way out, but have a new perspective of where you're at. You know, God, you live in America. It's an amazing country. You know, you have food on the table. It's just being grateful and thankful for what you have right now that leads to bigger and better things in your life. And it's just one step ahead.
That is awesome, because we tend to forget, as you were saying at the beginning with the anger, right? We get caught up in that addiction, whether it's anger, whether it's a sense of things not working out, whether it's, all those loops. I call it loops because it's kind of like a loop. You are in there, and I'm guessing you have been in those loops at some point of your life of something.
Absolutely. So, now that we're in the talk of anger and just recently the election here in the United States, but 4 years ago when Donald Trump was elected, I was angry. I was super angry because, how can this person, how can this person be elected to the highest office in the United States after all the things that he's done wrong, okay? Or lied or this or that or whatever. And I was really upset when he was elected. I took it out on my partner Scott. And I yelled and screamed at him and this and that and whatever, and I can't believe you didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, and because he voted for an independent, and I was like, you threw your vote away, and I was so mad at him, and I think it took about 2 or 3 days of being angry, and I liked that feeling of being angry.
Because anger has certain power.
It does. It does. I loved that feeling of being angry for those 2 or 3 days. And then I snapped out of it. And I said, why would I let a person I don't even know, and that I've never met, ruin my life and ruin my relationship with the man that I love? Mm-hmm. Right? Why would I give him that kind of power over me? And I just snapped. I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to give Donald Trump that power over me to make my life miserable, to ruin my life. And it was a realization at the time that I am stronger than that I can overcome this block in my life that is keeping me from all the good things. And I think that's why you will see people thrive in any situation, right?
Same on.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you live in a country that is, let's say, communist or whatever. It's your attitude that makes you thrive, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who the president is, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton. It's your choice to thrive or not thrive. It doesn't matter if you come from a family of abusers, that your dad's an alcoholic or your mom, is always negative or whatever. Doesn't matter. It's your choice to thrive or not thrive, to grow or not grow. It's your choice. No one can make that choice for you.
I agree. And at the same time, I think there are people who are in those states of blaming the exterior for what is going on in their life, and they cannot see sometimes that choice. I mean, it needs some kind of shaking of their lives in order. And it's not always. Sometimes you are able to see that you have a choice. And many people are so into that loop that we were talking before, they don't want to get out of that loop. Yeah. And that's how or when I think people that you value around you help you also to support you, and then you can talk to them. Because when one person tells you it's your choice and you say no, another person tells you the same. No, at some point it sink in, right? At some point, not always. I don't think it always happened either. But at some point it sink in and said, well, if so many people are telling me this, what is what I'm not seeing? What is in my blind spot, right? I have a blind spot and I'm not able to see, or not capable, or not able to see it. And that takes curiosity, that takes awareness, that takes support, that takes many things for someone, because you see it in the way you see it. Phil, I had the feeling that you probably have had not only a great support system in your life, or not at all, that you had not other choice that to wake up and take the responsibility of your life.
It is. I think it is. I think that's the first part, is not blaming anybody else for your problems and your misery and the things that are wrong with your life. It's first examining yourself and saying, hey, I got myself here. by my own thoughts and by my own beliefs, and what's the way out? How do I get out of the situation I'm in? Because it's so easy to blame someone else. It's so easy to blame the president. It's so easy to blame, our loved ones,
Partner.
our partner, our
Or
children,
our
our
feeling.
job, whatever. And it's, happiness is a choice. It's a choice to be thankful, and it's a choice to be grateful, and it's a choice to be happy. And you have that choice. You have that power to choose. No one's keeping you from choosing that choice. No one. Only yourself. You're the only one that's keeping yourself from choosing that choice. And it's a journey. It's not just waking up one day and just being happy. It's a journey of choosing to feel a little bit better. Because you can't go from being angry and sad to like super happy all at once, right?
Yeah.
You just take this next step up. Instead of being angry, you're indifferent. Like, I don't care. It's still feeling better than being angry.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but as I was telling you before, that anger sometimes is positive, right? When it's not, if it's well channeled, that anger help you to push those boundaries of I don't have a choice. That anger sometimes is the one who shows you that you have a choice.
So back to acting again. When I first started acting, Scott said, "Honey, you're a bad actor." I got angry. I was so angry at him. I was so mad at him. I was like, I'll show you how bad of an actor I am. I'll show you. And so it made me angry, and so it made me work harder. It made me prove to myself and keep on at it, to keep getting up. Every time I fell down, to get up again and again and again, because I wanted to prove to Scott that I was a good actor.
That was it. That's why I was saying that the anger is sometimes, if well channeled, can be eye-opening, and an engine to keep going.
Yeah, but obviously you can use it in a positive way, and just don't let it consume you. You can channel it, and you can change it, and you can use it in a positive way. Because anything that happens to you, you can always find a silver lining in every cloud. You can always find a rainbow in every cloud. In every storm, there's always the eye and the calm in the center of this horrible hurricane all around you. You can always find that positivity of where you're at, because it's just a learning lesson in life, right? I mean,
Keep going.
yeah, I mean, there's going to be times when everything is going wrong in your life, and it all happens at once. And why does it all happen at once? It's so that you can learn some lessons. And for example, with my business, I felt like, at the beginning of my business, when I started having employees, I felt like I was getting the same employees over and over and over again. Employees that didn't have my best interests at heart, that didn't care about my business, that only cared about themselves or this or that or whatever. And every time I let someone go and I hired someone else, I felt the same things, the same feelings. Mm-hmm. And and it happened again and again, so that I could learn. Looking back at it, now I see that it happened again and again because I could learn not to hire those people, or to let those people go if I start having those feelings. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay? So I've had a stable, I've had stable employees now for the past 5 years because I found employees that had my same thinking, that thought the way that I did, that had the same, you know, core values that I did, that loved my clinic the way that I did, because that's what I told the universe I wanted. And that's what the universe brought me, you know?
Yeah, keep going, keep going.
And it takes time to learn your lessons. Sometimes the universe has to teach you 2, 3, 4, 5 times before you learn your lesson, right? Because the same things keep happening to you over and over and over again. You know, you always attract the same boyfriends over and over and over again. Why? You haven't learned your lesson.
And that's what I wanted to put together, because there's a part of you that I see that is exactly that. I see your positivity, how you live your life, the way you engage with your dreams, your work, everything. And as I can hear underneath those stories that you were telling me, the stories of being from Vietnam, being in Indiana, relationships, same boyfriends all the time, your clinic, same employees all the time. So that in itself is your journey to the moment that you had clarity, the way you wanted to, the way you wanted your life to be. No matter what, the feeling, the underneath feeling. And I think that is the product of these hard lessons probably you have had that has shaped you the way you are right now. And we only see the results, and it's for you so clear to say to someone, it's your choice. Nevertheless, if you wouldn't have had those experiences, you never come to terms to that statement, because it's a statement, and I totally believe it, because I am the same. It's my choice.
It is. It's life is a journey of ups and downs, and you learn from the downs, and it's your choice to look at it a different way when you're in that valley.
Mm-hmm. And the most amazing aspect of you is that you remember the valleys, but you don't pay attention to them anymore. Mm-hmm. And that is what shines through you. Only the happiness. Because you realize, well, that happened, that was experienced, that was a thought, that's not so important. What is important is now.
Yeah. And it's just letting time take its course. Letting time give you experience too, because I don't know, I knew I wasn't that good of an actor at the beginning, but I just let it evolve. But I knew that's what I wanted. I knew that's the direction that I wanted, the challenge that I wanted in my life, and letting time make me a better actor by taking one step after the next, by taking a different class, by, like I said, keep falling down and getting back up and trying it again in a different way. And that's what makes a business succeed as a business person too. Any successful business person that you meet, they didn't do it all right. They had a lot of failures. They had a lot of failures to get to where they're at today. 100%, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. Because failures are part of the configuration of who you are. that's what gives dimension and depth and all of that.
So I was listening to a video yesterday, Denzel Washington, and he said, you know, when you're at your deathbed and you have all these, what's going to show up is your dreams and your ambitions. And what they're going to say to you at your deathbed is, why didn't you make us come alive? Why were you so afraid to make us come alive? What will you regret at your deathbed that you didn't do? Your dreams and your ambitions, what you wanted in life, right? I don't want to go to my death with those dreams and ambitions coming to me and say, we gave you abilities, you know, we gave you talent, and we gave you heart, and we gave you soul, and we gave you vision, but you were too afraid to do anything about it.
That is, in a way, forcing us to be accountable with those gifts that were given to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And responsible. Take responsibility for that.
Yeah. We all have dreams, we all have visions, and we all want something in this life. And that makes us go to the next level. And it's okay to have, you know, any sort of dream, any sort of vision. It's okay to just, you know, be the most awesome waiter that you can be. Right? You know, it's okay to be the most awesome doctor that you can be. It's okay, but if you have, you know, big dreams, it's okay too. If you live in a small town and you have big dreams, it's okay too. Go for it. I mean, you're given those dreams for a reason.
That's a beautiful way to look at it, Phil. A very beautiful way. Because it lightens also the load, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is, that feels, you were talking about it and I felt warm and like,
Yeah.
sounded.
I mean, look at your dream, right? You want to create a podcast that, you know, speaks to people about the moments and the journeys and the strangers that we come across that can make our lives better. Oh my God, what an amazing dream.
Oh.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like my dream.
I mean, it's the realization that we are all one.
We are.
We are. Every person that we meet is a reflection of ourselves. Whether it's a homeless person, whether it's the president of the United States, you know, every person that we meet is a reflection of us and who we can be.
At least an aspect of ourselves that whether we need to look at it or find the resonance with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is so awesome.
So I fully 100% support your dreams, Yolanda. You know that. I'm so excited for you on this journey.
Oh, thank you. We'll see what is taking me.
But
Thank you so much.
but this dream is gonna lead you to something else. It may not be. It doesn't matter if this dream
matter.
succeeds or not. It doesn't matter because it will lead you to the next one.
It has changed since the moment I envisioned it. It has changed in so many ways.
And that's what people need to realize, is that as long as that dream keeps feeling good inside, you know you're going in the right direction. It's okay for it to change, and I think that's the thing that people are fearful about. You know, they're fearful that their dream won't come true, but it's so specific in their head that they don't allow it to change and metamorphosize into something that's even more beautiful than what they could dream of.
Yeah.
Right?
See.
You know? I mean, I had this dream of being a doctor when I was younger, and I wanted to be a doctor. But look at my life now and how much more wonderful it is than just being a doctor that I thought that dream would be.
But you're many things, right? You are a doctor, you're a writer, you're a reader, you're a painter, you're a great cook, you are many things, a traveler, a curious being. Wow, those are many things that gives you texture to your life and the way you feel your life.
It's wanting to experience life to the fullest, of letting myself explore anything that I have an interest in. And I think that's what's so beautiful about life today, is that we can learn anything through our computers, through YouTube. If you want to explore acting, there's acting lessons on YouTube. If you want to be a better singer, there's singing lessons on YouTube. You know, you don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah.
It's there. It's there. You know? Anyway, sorry for a second.
Don't worry.
Yeah, it's there. It's there for your taking. I mean, we live in such a marvelous time that any of your dreams can come true in your little computer, on your little phone, that you could become anything. You know, if you wanted to be an artificial intelligence programmer, an AI programmer, it's there on your computer, and you can learn it for free. And Google will hire you and give you a $100,000 job. If you want it, it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to engage in our dreams definitely is a choice. Today is a choice because we have all the tools available to us, all of them.
Yeah. And people, I don't know, I think maybe, is it people that they shy away from hard work? They just want it and not want the journey?
Maybe.
Because the joy is in the journey. The joy is in learning something new. The joy is in falling down and learning and getting better and better and better. You know, because that dream that you have, when you look at, okay, let's just say you look at a movie star. Okay, pick a well-known movie, I mean, anybody, like Chris Hemsworth, Thor, okay? Think of where his journey has been. He's been acting for years. He's been acting for 10, 15, 20 years before he got his big break. You know, many of these actors that have their big breaks, they've been acting since they were a child. But they kept at it, and they kept at it, and they kept at it, you know? And that's what I realized when I'm in my acting class. There's so many people so much better than me. And it's like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. But they've been acting for, when I first started, I looked at them like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. How did they do that? How can they just get a script and then, 20 minutes later, feel like they already have their lines memorized? And they can do it. It's because they've been acting for years and years and years. So if you have a dream, you don't just wake up one day and decide you want to be a doctor. Right?
No.
You don't.
Yeah.
You have to
You
go to
need to.
school. You have to prepare. You have to learn everything. You have to learn the body and the muscles and the bacterias and the medicines, and that's how you become a doctor. You don't just wake up and say, I want to be this. It's great. You got to start the journey though. It's a journey of learning to be the best that you can be, because there's so many people that have spent a lifetime on that same journey, and that's why they are where they are today. You know, my friend who got me into all this, Stuart Stone, he's a casting director, and he told me when I started that it's going to be 2 years before I book anything. And it was 2 years before I actually booked my first commercial here. You know, because he knew that it takes that long to even get a solid foundation of a concept of what it is I'm actually doing. You know, maybe some people have a talent for it, maybe they're a genius at it or whatever. It doesn't mean that they don't have to work at it. They still do. You know, it's just maybe easier for them.
Yeah.
Well, there's always luck also. I mean, there's sometimes that there's luck. And but if you're there, it's easier. If you prepare, you can have luck, but if you're not prepared, you might miss that opportunity. But if you are preparing yourself and enjoying this journey of your dream, definitely one day it might happen, it might not, but there's more probabilities of happening if you prepare.
A great person makes their own luck too. You can create your own luck.
Tell me, and just we're gonna wrap up this with this question that I have been feeling during the whole conversation we had. Is there any thing, feeling, person, or let's leave it like that, that has been constant throughout your life?
I would have to say my mother. I miss her. I miss her so much. I mean, I lost her 20 years ago. And she's still with me today. She's in my dreams. I talk to her when I do my acting. I think about her when I do my acting. If I want to portray an emotion of love, I think about her. I think of saying those lines to her. It's something that I will always, I mean, she's not me. She just gave me unconditional love all the time. And she knew, and she made me feel so special when I was growing up. It'd be my mother.
And that's something that I have been feeling from the very beginning. You know, like there's always
Right.
underneath, constant in you that holds you. And then you can hold on to, ground yourself into.
You know, the funny thing is, exploring my family history and interviewing my brothers and sisters and things like that. My brother Tom sent me some poems from my dad. You know, he sent me writings from my dad that he wrote about his mother, you know, because he took my family, we escaped in Vietnam, but he left his mother there, still in Vietnam, you know. And when my grandmother passed away, he wasn't able to go back for the funeral, and he felt so bad about it. But it's something that I think is, obviously I knew that my my father had a mother, but I didn't think that he felt like that to his own mother. Do you know what I mean?
And you discovered this while you were doing the documentary? And
Yes.
how did change the perception or the idea you had about your father then?
I mean, it made him so much more warm to me that he felt like that about his own mother, right? Because for me, my vision of him was a strong man, that could overcome so many things, that could take his family out of Vietnam, that planned all of these things so that we could have a better life in the United States, that conquered America per se, that came with nothing but built a computer store and a laundromat and this and that, that was self-sufficient, that didn't have to depend on the government, and learned a new language and acclimated to a new culture. I mean, to me, he was a very strong person, and that's what he taught me. He taught me strength, and he taught me that even with limitations, you can control the environment around you. My dad didn't speak that good English, His English was very accented. I mean, he spoke good grammar, but he had such a heavy accent. But it was very interesting. I watched him all my life when I was young, and he could actually get people to do what he wanted. Strangers. You do this for me. You show me how to get there. And they would take him. They would drive ahead and he would follow them. He would just ask strangers on the road for directions. And they would actually drive ahead. He would get them to drive ahead, and he would follow them to exactly where he needed to go. By just asking. By just opening his mouth and creating reality of what he wanted. And they would do it for him. And if somebody didn't treat him well, he would say, "Why you treat me like that? Why? Why you treat me like that?" And they would back away. He had this commanding presence, and I learned that commanding presence from him. Okay? But I also learned the commanding presence of my mother, who was not outspoken, but who was soft and who was strong in her core. So I'm a combination of both of them. And I want to be a combination of both of them, because sometimes my dad was a little bit too strong, I thought, or too abrasive, and my mother, even though she appeared passive, she was very strong, because we, as children, we never wanted to disappoint my mother. It didn't matter. I didn't want to disappoint my mom much more than I didn't want to disappoint my dad. Because I wanted my mom to be happy. Because I knew that the only thing my mom wanted from me was for me to be happy. She didn't have any expectations of me. She didn't say, be a doctor. She didn't say, you have to do this for me to be happy. All she wanted was for me to be happy. And in return, all I wanted was for her to be happy. And I think, yeah, and I think that's how we should treat people in life, right? Because if we can say to another person, all I want is for you to be happy, that is so powerful. To say that to a stranger, to say that to your loved ones, to say that to anyone. Because guess what we're gonna get back? All they want is for us to be happy when we give that out.
Did I tell you that I love you?
Oh, yeah, you bring out everything in me.
You resisted it, but I was able to get into the right place. Damn, you resisted it.
You had to dig down deep. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, that was so powerful. Oh my God. I love you so much, Yolanda. Thank you so much for this moment and this time to explore everything that's going on inside me. It's a great, what a great time we had.
I had a great time with you always since I met you. You know, you are that kind of people, because I am like that too. When I see someone that I said, I need to meet that person eventually, you know, because there's a pull. I cannot explain what it is, but it's a pull. And in my experience in my life, were people that they were very important in my life. Very, very important. And with you, I feel that I can be myself. With you, we can explore together, and that is so hard to find. And when I find it, it's like a pact we had from a past life in the universe. It's a pact that the moment that we encounter each other, it will be recognizable, and it will be the moment to explore that moment together. And you are one of those. You are one of those for me. That's why I keep you as my treasure. I don't want to share you. I don't want to share you. Sorry, just for me. And Scott. I can share you with Scott.
Okay, you can share me with Scott. Oh God, I think that's a good ending. Thank you so much for this time. Appreciate it, sweetie.
Thank you. For trusting me and wanted to have a conversation with me.
Absolutely. We'll sign out. Love you.
Send me everything and marinate and whatever you feel.
Yes, for sure.
I love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.